Drake just got caught in one of the worst cover-ups of his career. After canceling multiple shows, his team rushed to put out an excuse. But the problem? It doesn't add up at all. The real reason behind this sudden cancellation is something they don't want you to know. But today, we're breaking it all down. From flop ticket sales to industry manipulation. This might be the biggest L of Drake's career. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear changes everything. Drake's recent streak of losses is happening so fast that it's nearly impossible to keep track. But the biggest sign of how bad things have gotten is the cancellation of his Anita Max Win Tour. This tour's abrupt end speaks louder than any numbers or speculation ever could. Instead of pushing forward, Drake has called off the remaining dates, marking a major low in his career. Before diving in, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps a ton. Right now, Drake and his team are doing everything they can to downplay this disaster, making it more important than ever to stay informed. Even as he distances himself from Kendrick Lamar, this tour's cancellation stands as one of his biggest public embarrassments. Drake's excuse? A scheduling conflict. According to his team's official statement, 4 out of 16 sold-out shows in Australia and New Zealand were postponed. But even without reading further, we can already see how flimsy this explanation is. How does a global superstar suddenly realize he has scheduling issues after confirming an entire tour? It's absurd. Touring is one of the most meticulously planned aspects of the music industry. Artists, venues, and teams work months, if not years, in advance to schedule dates. You don't just run into a conflict last minute. Yet somehow, this is the best excuse Drake's team could come up with. To make matters worse, an additional statement followed, claiming that a 12-day gap between shows made it impractical for Drake and his crew to stay on the road. Their solution? Cancel everything. But anyone with basic knowledge of how touring works can see this makes no sense at all. Artists frequently have breaks between dates. It's normal. The reality is, Drake's team is scrambling to cover up the truth. Ultimately, this cancellation isn't just about a tour. It's about the direction of Drake's career. And right now, it's looking worse than ever. Drake and his team planned this tour months in advance, knowing the exact schedule. If scheduling was truly an issue, they could have adjusted dates long ago. So how is this suddenly a problem now? Given all the time they had to prepare and organize logistics, this excuse makes no sense. When you think about it, their entire claim is not just false. It's one of the worst cover-ups we've ever seen. What makes this even more suspicious is that many OVO artists, including Smiley and Party Next Door, were already in the area and seen to have plans to stay. With this abrupt cancellation, the big question remains: why did Drake and his team lie and scrap the entire tour? Looking at Drake's recent behavior, there are no personal reasons. He's still doing the same things he always does. This leaves only a few possibilities, none of which paint a good picture. The most likely reason? The tour wasn't selling well, and Drake didn't want to face the embarrassment of performing to half-empty arenas. Rather than admit low ticket sales, he used this weak excuse to back out. Seating charts already showed lower than expected demand, and footage from his tour confirmed the underwhelming turnout. Some shows had unfilled seats, and the performances themselves received little positive attention. Drake's stage presence has been uninspired, his set designs lacking creativity. Fans have been seen holding signs begging for his attention, and at times, his performances have felt more like karaoke than live artistry. Given all of this, it's no surprise that in a time where he ranks lower than ever in rap's hierarchy, this tour did nothing to boost his standing. Instead, it exposed just how much his career has declined. This failed tour is yet another sign that Drake is losing his grip on the industry. With a high level of certainty, the failure of this tour played a major role in its abrupt cancellation. Drake faced a tough choice: risk performing in empty arenas or scrap the tour altogether. Given the context, it seems Drake and his team saw an opportunity to spin the cancellation into another strategic move from their failing playbook. Rather than admitting low ticket sales, they could create confusion and claim industry suppression. By abruptly ending these live performances, Drake, OVO, and their supporters could push the narrative that they were being blocked by the industry, even when it came to touring. Predictably, they would argue that this was the reason they had to cut the tour short. This aligns with their response to the disappointing sales of Drake's latest album, as they attempt to justify its underperformance by blaming external forces. While these tactics distance Drake from the respect of hip-hop fans and the culture, they do strengthen the loyalty of his remaining fan base. In many ways, Drake seems to be ensuring that his die-hard supporters stay committed, realizing that those who have abandoned him aren't coming back. His focus has shifted toward maintaining the loyalty of the fans he still has rather than reclaiming lost ground in the industry. The fact that this is his current strategy is almost comical. But at this point, nothing should surprise us. Every time it seems like Drake has reached his lowest, he finds new ways to disappoint. Another rumored reason behind the tour's cancellation is potential behind-the-scenes drama related to legal matters. Some believe that Drake had to step away from performing to deal with personal issues. However, this theory doesn't hold up. If that were truly the case, he wouldn't have needed to cancel every single show and wipe out his entire tour schedule. Because of all this, we now have the clearest proof yet that Drake's career has taken its worst downturn ever. His attempts to control the narrative can't hide the reality. This tour's failure marks another undeniable sign that he has fallen further than ever before. Drake thought he could escape the shadow of Kendrick Lamar by performing in new areas. But the truth is, people in these places aren't even interested enough to support him. Meanwhile, artists like The Weeknd and Kendrick are filling entire stadiums, while Drake struggles to sell out arenas in cities he hasn't visited in years. It's nothing short of embarrassing, and it raises the question: how does he continue acting as if he's above everyone else, when in reality, his career is flopping in every possible way? Between declining streaming numbers and failing to sell tickets, we now see that the disconnect between Drake's industry push and actual demand is undeniable. The hard truth is that people just aren't as interested in Drake's music as they once were. This decline is largely self-inflicted, stemming from his complete collapse following his loss to Kendrick Lamar. Ever since Not Like It Was dropped, Drake has done nothing to repair his image or win back the respect of those who once supported him. Instead, he has continuously tarnished his rap legacy at a pace we've never seen before. At this point, Drake and his entire team need to rethink their entire strategy. If they've reached a point where they can't even sell out arenas, then all their other efforts are meaningless. Respect and fan support are the foundation of an artist's success, and Drake's continuous losses are making it clear that he's losing both. If canceling an entire tour isn't a wake-up call for him and his team, then what will be? Drake's Anita Max Win Tour appears to be over, and even in attempting to return to his musical roots, he's managed to show that he has ruined everything about his career. With all of that said, what do you think about Drake canceling this tour? Does this solidify that his career is in decline? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you made it to this point in the video, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Also, if you want to see how Drake is making things even worse by dragging Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show into his ongoing lawsuit, check out the suggested video.